He noticed her long before anyone else did, standing alone beneath the chandelier while laughter and polished shoes move around her as if she were invisible. In a room filled with power, wealth, and noise, the most ignored soul belonged to the CEO's daughter, and the only man who truly saw her was a janitor pushing a mop along the marble floor. That night, one quiet request would unravel pride, awaken compassion, and change lives that money never could. If you believe in kindness and second chances, and in the quiet heroes the world often overlooks, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Stories like this exist to remind us that humanity still matters. Michael Turner had learned to live unnoticed. As a single father in the United States, he balanced night shifts, school lunches, and unpaid bills with the calm endurance of a man who no longer expected fairness. After his wife passed away from illness years earlier, life reduced itself to survival and responsibility. He worked as a janitor in a towering corporate building in Chicago, cleaning offices that smelled of ambition and power he would never taste. His hands were rough, his back ached constantly, and his bank account stayed dangerously close to empty. But every night, he reminded himself that his son, Noah, was watching him learn how to stand tall even when life bent him low. The building he cleaned belonged to one of the most powerful CEOs in the country, Richard Holloway. Richard was known for sharp decisions, relentless discipline, and a fortune built on precision. What the headlines rarely spoke about was his daughter, Emily. Born autistic, Emily lived in a world that processed sound, touch, and emotion differently. Her mother had passed away when she was young, leaving Richard to raise a child he loved deeply but struggled to understand. He provided the best therapists, schools, and protection money could buy, yet he could not shield her from isolation. At corporate events, she was present but never included, tolerated but not embraced. That evening, the company hosted a lavish gala celebrating a major business milestone. Crystal glasses clinked, conversations hummed, and success floated thick in the air. Michael had been assigned to clean discreetly along the edges, invisible as always. Emily stood near the wall, hands clasped tightly, eyes fixed on the swirling patterns of light reflecting off the floor. People glanced at her, then looked away, unsure, uncomfortable, unwilling to engage. Michael noticed her flinch at sudden laughter, the way her shoulders stiffened when someone brushed past too closely. He recognized that look. His son Noah had sensory sensitivities too, not autism, but enough for Michael to understand what it felt like when the world became too loud. Compassion for him was instinctive. As the music shifted to a slower rhythm, something unexpected happened. Emily stepped forward, away from the wall, toward the open space where couples danced. The room barely noticed her movement until she stopped directly in front of Michael. He froze, mop still in his hands, aware of 100 unspoken rules separating a janitor from the CEO's daughter. Then she looked up at him with calm certainty and made her request. "Dance with me." The room fell silent in spirit, if not in sound. Eyes turned. Whispers formed. Michael's heart pounded, not with fear of embarrassment, but with fear of failing a child who had trusted him without hesitation. He thought of Noah, of how he wished the world would meet his son with patience instead of judgment. He set the mop aside. Michael stepped onto the floor with Emily carefully, respectfully, moving slowly so as not to overwhelm her. He matched her rhythm, simple and steady. There was no performance, no flourish, just presence. Emily's tense posture softened. Her breathing slowed. For the first time that evening, she smiled, wide and unguarded. Something shifted in the room. People stopped talking. Phones lowered. Laughter faded. They watched a janitor and a CEO's daughter share a moment, so pure exposed every shallow priority surrounding them. Richard Holloway stood frozen, his chest tightening as he realized that in all his wealth and authority, he had never given his daughter what the stranger offered so naturally, acceptance without conditions. The song ended, but the impact did not. From that night forward, everything changed. Richard sought out Michael, not as an employer asserting dominance, but as a father humbled by truth. He learned about Michael's life, his son, his sacrifices. He learned that empathy could not be purchased, only practiced. Richard made changes within his company, not as public relations, but as policy. Neurodiversity training, inclusive programs, and genuine accommodations became part of the corporate structure. Michael did not become rich overnight. His life did not magically transform, but respect followed him where invisibility once lived. His wages improved. His schedule adjusted to allow more time with Noah. Most importantly, he was no longer unseen. Emily began spending time volunteering in the building's community outreach programs, guided gently by Michael and others who treated her with dignity rather than distance. She learned that her voice mattered, that her presence was not a burden. Michael's son watched his father become something more than tired resilience. He watched him become proof that kindness, even from the lowest rung of society, can rise higher than any title. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that true leadership is shown in compassion, not power, please like, comment, and share this video so others can feel this message too. Before the ending, we have one special request. Please comment, kindness sees everyone. If you believe no one deserves to be invisible, in the end, the world did not change because a CEO made a decision or a company revised its policies. It changed because a janitor chose humanity over fear, and a young girl dared to ask for connection. Sometimes, the smallest dance becomes the loudest lesson.